Welcome to the Attains Pilot Project Training Video Series. This video will cover how to batch upload assessment unit information to quickly upload information into Attains without having to hand enter all the assessment unit information. To begin, open the AU batch upload template.xml file I shared with you via email in Excel. This file contains all the same information you can enter manually into the interface. You can choose to enter all the information at once using the all-in-one template, or load portions of the data separately using the individual tabs. The template has allowable value lists in each of the Excel sheets to help you enter the information easily, and any data element that is required will have a blue celled header. So for example, here is a blue celled header, so that means it's required. And something that has an allowable value list will have a blue line underlined header, okay? But you may see that there are blue underlined headers that aren't in a cell, so that means column K is not required, okay? So let's get started. Let's start filling out the template. So the first thing you need to do is you need to load in your assessment unit IDs. You have already established these in your Big Four. If you're using monitoring locations, in many cases they are the same as your Big Four. I'm going to use an example set for today, but enter your information as appropriate for your tribe. So my assessment unit ID is going to be LJS, my initials 1, 2, 3. Yours will be whatever your monitoring location ID is. My assessment unit name is just going to be Laura's River. My state, your state is going to be whatever state you are sampling in. So if you're an Oklahoma tribe, you would put OK. If you're New Mexico, NM, etc. For the purposes of mine, I have access to an AA account, so I'm just going to use AA, so that's why it's there. The status, you'll see that there are two, an A for active or an R for retired. If for some reason you wanted to get rid of an assessment unit, you could retire it, but you can never delete one, okay? Unless there's never been assessment information put with it. So likely you'll be selecting active for all of those. You're welcome to put in an assessment unit comment, but you do not have to, as you can see that it's not a blue cell. The location description, this is probably good to explain if you have an extent of water. So for example, if you weren't doing simply a monitoring location, you may want to indicate that it's from a certain segment of the stream to a confluence or something like that. What I'm going to say is right off of Big Bear Road, or we can be Big Deer Road, on Chansey Bridge. And so this can help somebody find where that location is. So the water type, as I indicated in my assessment unit name, is river. So I would use the drop down to select an allowable value. So I'm going to scroll to river. If you're using monitoring locations for your assessment units, i.e. you only have a single point in which you're sampling and you're not extending it in geospatial lengths, your water size is going to be a 0. And given that my water type is river, you'll see that the subset of water unit types will be selected for me. If I had selected lakes, it would be acres. For the purposes of this demo, we're not going to worry about J through L, not required. But what I definitely do want you guys to concentrate on is the MS org ID and MS location ID. If you are not providing your geospatial information with your assessment unit, so you're not giving us the lat long in this file, what we need to do then is go to WQX and pull that lat long for you. And so what I need you to do here is simply enter the corresponding WQX org ID and monitoring station ID, so we can go get that lat long seamlessly from the water quality portal. So for example, Big Valley Rancheria's org ID is CABVR. You should know your own. I'll show you kind of how you can find that, but you should already have yours. You can also do the location ID, which you will need to put with the org ID. And once again, mine is the same as my assessment unit, so that's simple. to connect up to. So if you are in Attains and you're unsure of what your org ID is, you should see it up here in the top when you log into the system. So it says Test Organization A, which is the one I'm operating under. However, yours would say, for example, Big Valley Rancheria, but in parentheses CA_BVR. And that's where that org ID will come from here. Okay? So once you've hand entered all of those, you want to go ahead and export this. This is into a CSV file. There are two ways you can do this. You can use the export button. We're finding that occasionally the export button is not working for folks because of like compatibility issues with the computer. You're welcome to attempt to use it. So the function of that is hit export. And since I was using the all-in-one tab, you do the all-in-one export. And unfortunately, you can't rename this in this situation. So what you need to do is just navigate to the file where you want this to sit, and sorry, I'm navigating to the file where I want this to be, and I hit OK. And so what it's going to be labeled is Attains our all-in-one CSV. I've already saved this because I've been practicing, but I'm happy to replace it. So I say OK. The other way, if you find that when you try to hit the export button it doesn't work, go back to the all-in-one, go to File, Save As, browse to wherever you want the file to live, and I can say, I'm going to label it Laura's AU, and put it as a CSV file. Do you see that here? Oh, we'll put it here. And then I'm just going to hit save. So that's the same thing. So what the export button is doing on the template is saying save it as a CSV file. However, you don't get to rename it, but if you want to rename it, you can just go through the file save as function. You're going to always get this warning when you save something as a CSV. All it's telling you is that when you're saving this, you're only saving this individual sheet, and that's okay, because what it's telling me is we're only saving the information from this tab and not the others. Okay, and you can see it renamed the tab. I didn't necessarily have to do that, but I did. So now you can go into Attains. The first thing I would like you to check is go to the place where you save that file. And so we're finding, so you can see Laura's CSV, and I want you to right-click, I want you to right-click Open with Notepad. And this is a known issue in the batch upload feature in Attains, which is being fixed, but what I want to show you is what a CSV file is a comma-separated file. And so anytime it puts new information, it puts a comma. So you can see assessment unit ID is the header, assessment unit name, comma. So it's separating those columns appropriately. However, occasionally when you select outside the cell, like if you select over here, outside of the cell, when you create a CSV, the system thinks, or Excel thinks, that you are putting data over there, and so it starts logging these blank commas. And so you might find that those exist in your file, and that will cause an error. So until that's fixed in Attains, so you can go ahead and just delete those out. Okay, and then you want to save that file. So unfortunately, you can't save it while this one's open. I'm not going to worry about saving this. I'm not going to cancel, but I can save it once that Excel file is closed. You see that? So you just want to make sure that those commas are gone. You may find that there's no commas in your file because you didn't select outside of your designated area, but if you did, that's what'll happen. Otherwise, you'll receive an internal server error. This should be fixed within the next month or two, but it just takes some time to adjust. And so now what you do is you go into Attains to load up your assessment units. And so to do so, what you want to do, you'll start at the home page. You'll navigate over to the assessment unit page. You'll select menu and then upload assessment units. And so now I'm going to go select the files for upload, and I need to select that file that I checked out via the notepad. It's laurasau.csv. I'm going to hit open, and now you hit upload. And you'll see that it was A-okay. If you didn't check for those commas at the end, it will fail, like I said. But just make sure to delete those out. And if you need any help with that, feel free to shoot me an email. Right now, what this says is the process is complete, but for it actually to be testing the file, but for it actually to load under your account, you need to hit proceed. Make sure you do that. That's like saving it. And then it'll let you know that it did save it as successfully, and you say okay. And now I can find that in my drop down, and it'll be LJS123. Right off of Big Deer Road on Chansey Bridge. And my monitoring stations are associated with it. And that concludes the video on batch uploading of assessment units. Feel free to contact me or your project officer, and if you have any issues with this, and good luck. Thanks.